The finale. Let's see how this ends.
They weren't posed, just small slices of the night that spoke for themselves. Claire walked in wearing a sleek dress and styled hair, clearly aiming for an entrance. She smiled, said her greetings, but it was clear from the way the conversations barely paused that the group's attention was already elsewhere. As people moved between rooms, several guests complimented the house, the new paint in the dining room, the way we'd set up the patio lighting. Each comment reinforced my role as host, the one bringing everyone together. At one point, the conversation turned to past trips. I shared a few funny moments from a vacation Ethan and I had taken last year, choosing ones that were light but full of inside jokes between us. I didn't mention Claire once. Later, Rachel arrived. She was a friend who Claire had once tried to distance from me by spreading small rumors. We hadn't spoken much in a while, but I'd made the effort to invite her. She seemed genuinely glad to be there, and we picked up our conversation easily. Ethan joined in, complimenting her recent work project. Rachel thanked me for introducing them in the first place, which drew a few approving nods from others nearby. Claire, from her seat on the arm of a chair across the room, made a pointed comment about how quickly Ethan and I had gotten serious. No one picked it up, and the conversation moved on without her. Dinner was served buffet style, but I made sure Ethan's favorite dish, something Claire had once claimed she made best, was front and center. When Ethan took a bite, he told everyone how much he loved my version. A few people asked for the recipe. As we moved outside to the patio, I mentioned how Ethan had helped string the lights and set up the seating area. It was small, but it showed the kind of partnership we had without me needing to spell it out. By mid-evening, Claire had retreated to the edge of the group. She chatted with one or two people at a time, but didn't make any real effort to join the main conversations. After the last guests left, messages started coming in. People thanked me for hosting, told me how much they'd enjoyed the night, and suggested doing it again soon. Not one person mentioned Claire. Watching how easily she faded into the background told me Phase 2 was doing exactly what it was supposed to. Her place in our shared social circle was slipping, and she didn't even realize how fast it was happening. About a month after the gathering at our house, Rachel reached out. She mentioned that Claire was applying for a position at her company. It wasn't just any role. One of Ethan's close friends, Mark, was a manager there. That immediately caught my attention. I brought it up to Ethan later that night. He told me the company had a solid reputation and was known for being selective. Their team culture was built around collaboration, and they avoided hiring people who might cause friction. I suggested casually that he give Mark a heads up, not in a way that would block Claire for no reason, but enough to make sure he understood what could come with hiring her. Ethan agreed, and when he spoke to Mark, he kept it factual. He explained some of what had happened at the wedding, the inappropriate speech, the interruptions during the ceremony, the unnecessary drama, without exaggerating. Mark listened and then told him their hiring priority was to bring in people who were drama-free and team-focused. Meanwhile, Claire was radiating confidence. She mentioned to me in passing that she was a shoo-in for the job because she knew someone on the team. She didn't say who, but it was clear she thought her connection was enough to secure the offer. On the morning of her interview, she was dressed in a tailored suit and left early. Later that day, Ethan got a message from Mark. He said Claire had done fine in the technical part. Her answers were solid, and she seemed prepared. But then came the problem. After the panel wrapped up, there was a casual coffee break with a few staff members. During that time, Claire made a flirty remark to one of the senior managers, the kind that made the conversation go silent for a second. Mark said it wasn't outright offensive, but it was inappropriate in a professional setting, and the panelists all noticed. A week later, the decision came through. Claire got a polite rejection email. No explanation, just the standard we've decided to move forward with other candidates. She called me not long after, venting about how unfair hiring politics could be and how companies didn't value personality anymore. I listened, gave neutral responses, and didn't let on that I already knew exactly why she hadn't been hired. At dinner a few days later, I brought up Ethan's career and how much his professionalism and teamwork had contributed to his success. I made the comment while others were at the table, letting it land without directing it at anyone. Claire muttered something under her breath about lucky people, but didn't elaborate. Ethan, picking up on the moment, added that my own work ethic was one of the things he admired most. He didn't look in her direction, but the contrast was clear enough for anyone listening. By then, I knew Phase 3 was locked in. Losing that opportunity wasn't something she could spin into a win, and it would be a reminder she'd carry for a long time. The news came from my mom over coffee. Claire was hosting a big summer dinner party for family and close friends. She'd been talking it up for weeks, calling it her signature event of the year. That was all I needed to hear to know this would be the perfect moment to end things on my terms. I accepted the invitation the same day, my tone warm and easy. I thanked her like she'd just offered me front row seats to a show. Any tension from the past few months seemed to melt from her replies. That was the point. If she thought the ice had thawed, she wouldn't be on guard. The next step was lining up my quiet allies. I reached out to Zoe, Rachel, and a few others in our shared circle. Each got a casual heads up about the night and a small ask. Keep conversations moving in ways that didn't give Claire the spotlight, and if the opportunity came up, drop in the kind of topics that would make comparisons unavoidable without being direct. Everyone agreed. Ethan got his part too. Be warm, be polite. But the second Claire tried to pull him into a one-on-one, disengage with an excuse and move back toward me or the group, he didn't need convincing. When the evening came, we arrived right on time. I wore a new dress Ethan had picked out, one of those fits like it was made for you kinds, paired with simple jewelry. The compliments started the second I walked through the door. Zoe pointing out the color, Rachel asking where I'd found it, even one of Claire's friends commenting on how well it suited me. Inside, the table was set beautifully, candles flickering against the summer twilight. Claire was moving between the kitchen and the living room, greeting guests, clearly proud of her setup. Before she could launch into anything about herself, I started working the room. I asked every guest about what they'd been up to: promotions, vacations, new projects. Each answer pulled attention away from her and kept it moving. Midway through dinner, Ethan dropped the first planned moment. While everyone was talking about travel, he mentioned our anniversary trip, the same one Claire had once tried to invite herself on, casually adding that we'd upgraded to a luxury suite. It got a round of impressed reactions from the table. Zoe, right on cue, turned to Claire and asked if she had any big plans coming up. Claire paused, then gave a vague answer about just working for now, before the conversation moved on without her. After the main course, I presented her with a host gift. It was small, neatly wrapped. Inside was a framed group photo from our wedding. Ethan and I in sharp focus at the center, smiling, and Claire in the background, slightly out of focus but clearly there. I thanked her for hosting and handed it over in front of a few guests. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Later, while everyone was still lingering over drinks, Rachel started telling a story about a friend whose sibling had tried to interfere in their relationship. She didn't name anyone, didn't even say it was recent, but at certain moments her eyes flicked toward me. The implication was clear enough for anyone paying attention. By then, I could see Claire's posture shift. She started fidgeting with her glass, sipping faster, glancing toward the kitchen as if looking for an out. Dessert was served, and before the evening wound down, I made my exit. I thanked her for the night, complimented her on the food and the setup, and left with Ethan while people were still mid-conversation. The party kept going without us. In the weeks after, the change was obvious. At family gatherings, Claire spoke less, avoided sitting near Ethan, and mostly kept to safe, surface-level topics. Invitations from our mutual friends started showing up, addressed only to me and Ethan, without her name anywhere on them. I never brought it up, never rubbed it in. I didn't need to. The combination of being edged out socially, the quiet public contrasts, and the reminder of her place had landed exactly as intended. Without a single argument or raised voice, she knew exactly what crossing that line had cost her, and it was a cost she'd carry for a long time.
Now, it's more rather the lack of common sense. Rather than trying to steal your sister's, things she got going on that turned all the way into a happy marriage, why not just find something for yourself? You were at a gathering. There were so many people there to find. Why you only want that because your sister got it? So, you only put this on yourself. There's nothing to feel sorry for. That's all I'm saying. But regardless, I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Please be sure to fully engage. We got another story coming up tomorrow. It's going to be a much longer story and far more dramatic. But I don't want to give too much away. Thank you all again. Have a great week, great weekend. I'll see you on the next one.